What's up, fellow wanderers? Welcome back to the Exploring Fort Edmonton video series. With today's video going to be focusing in on 1885 Street, which is supposed to represent Edmonton when it was a small frontier town that was just beginning to take root in northern Alberta. As you can see, I'm now making my way to the Otterwell homestead, where they have the same kind of livestock that the Otterwells would have had back in the day, including sheep, cattle, and the occasional rooster strutting about. And as you must have heard on the video, that was one loud baa from that sheep. A very accurate representation of a farmyard from that era, I think. And here, sheltering out of the rain to our right, is a little goat. And as we pan around, we get another look at the sheep and the cows, and that sheep will not be quiet. Now panning from left to right, we can see Ross Bros Hardware, a furs store, and coming in here on our right, I believe this is the Hutchings and Riley harness shop, which is where people would come to get harnesses for their work animals and the saddles for their horses, which came in different sizes depending on the horse, I guess. The saddles themselves were made of a very solid leather. Now we are at the McDougall Methodist Church, which was completed in 1873 and was one of the first buildings constructed outside the walls of Fort Edmonton. It is one of the few original buildings at the park and was moved here in 1978. And as you can see, the church doesn't have a lighting system, so it would have been lit with candles back in the day. And the craftsmanship that was used in the construction of the church is stunning, right down to the interior wood paneling. Here, I believe I am in the Sanderson and Lobby blacksmith shop, which would have provided all the metalwork items to the citizens of Edmonton back in the day. So things like horseshoes, iron stoves, hose, and other things that would have been essential for frontier life. Now, back outside, panning around, there's the McDougall Methodist Church, just walking down the wooden sidewalk, which would have been how the sidewalks would have been constructed back in the day. Apparently, there was going to be a fiddle concert at the church, which I unfortunately didn't take in. But that's how people would have entertain themselves back in the day, as they didn't have the luxuries that we have today, so people would make music to entertain themselves, and I have to admit, I've always loved the sound of a fiddle. Here we are in Kelly's Saloon, which is a replica of the original Kelly Saloon, located at 98th Street and Jasper Avenue. The saloon and billiard hall opened in 1883. Later, the saloon incorporated rooms on the second floor, and eventually became known as the Alberta Hotel. I've always enjoyed a good game of billiards, and learning the rules of the billiard hall that was at the original Kelly Saloon was fascinating. As you can see, making our way out of the saloon, it is quite the rustic setup, as it would have been back in the day. Across the street is a replica of the Jasper House Hotel. It was the first building built of brick in Edmonton, and the original location of the hotel is still being used as a hotel today in downtown Edmonton, known as the Hub Hotel. Now, just another shot of the street. As you can see, it is a gloomy day here in Edmonton, and I am rushing to catch up to my family, who are going to be going into the land office, which would have been the first stop for any settler coming to the Edmonton area. The original location of the Dominion Land Office was on 100th Avenue and 102nd Street. This building is not the original office, but another building of the same, built about 1900 in Fort Saskatchewan, which is northeast of Edmonton, I believe. So yeah, very lovely area, you have to admit, for this recreation of the settlement era in Edmonton. And just going to sneak in a quick peek at the Firkins house, which is located on 1905 Street, which is where I am headed next, which represents the young, growing professional class in Edmonton. And it is a great representation of the increasing differences among the classes in 1905 Edmonton. Although little is known about the original residents, the Firkins, the house represents an example of one of the most modern building designs and technology that was available at the time in Edmonton by 1911. Construction began in late 1911 and continued until mid-1912 when the Firkins finally arrived. The style of the construction was a Clifford bungalow, fitting considering the Firkins moved from Southern California to Alberta for whatever reason. The house features stucco on the exterior, which was relatively new to Edmonton. Also, a new product called beaverboard was used on the interior walls. The building was also wired for electricity, telephone, and even a coal boiler in the radiator room. It was a fantastic experience learning about the settlement era at Fort Edmonton, as you felt like you'd step back in time. So I would highly recommend, if you're in the Edmonton area, to go check out Fort Edmonton Park. Well, guys and gals, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, as the channel is on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully you guys heed my advice and come out to Edmonton to enjoy this living history museum. Also, donate to my Patreon if you are able to. Link will be down in the description. Wanderer out. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching this video.